Hey, what's up, guys? And real quick, for any of you that are um, already actively following my videos, you should already know that I am a Muay Thai fighter. Allow me to just readjust my microphone settings real quick. Um, so I went out to Thailand a few weeks ago, and I was training Muay Thai in Bangkok. But the training was really trendy. There was a lot of people there, and I don't have an issue with that. Just for the skill level that I'm at and for the training that I need, it's not really the best place for me. However, for anybody that goes on vacation to Thailand or is looking to start training, it's a good area to see how you're feeling, and those guys can better gauge your skill set, and you can actually gain positive benefit from training there for a day or two while simultaneously being able to go check out the city and have an actual vacation level experience without being so exhausted that you can't physically train or physically do anything with exception of lay in bed. However, I was training with one Muay Thai fighter. He's a professional fighter, and it was my first time ever training with a professional fighter. So the training's way different. Obviously, I'm a personal trainer, and even the way that I train people, it's nowhere near on par. The repetition and the way that the rhythm and the momentum coordinates itself is way more efficient and dramatic. To be completely honest, I was actually able to feel like I was able to be put in an adrenaline scenario with these trainers, and that's something that's really difficult for me to achieve. It was only a brief moment, but for that brief moment, I was zeroed. There was nothing else going on. It was just training. It was Muay Thai, and that's very rare for me to experience. I very very that hasn't happened in probably 10 years, if not a little bit longer, maybe 12 or 13. Anyway, the for anybody that's looking to get into Muay Thai or martial arts in general and decide to go with Muay Thai or Thai kickboxing, I would highly recommend training in Thailand. You can already see the difference in their training style and how they attune your focus properly. So my trainer's son, which is what we're watching in the video, and we'll cut into the other trainers as well later. But I lost a lot of the footage. Unfortunately, my GoPro crashed, and I lost all the information on my SD card. However, like I was saying, if my kick's off by a millimeter, they let me know. If my the angle of my kick is too high or too low, they let me know. If my arm's down a little bit too much, they let me know. They're constantly focused on having the exact body mechanics required to make each strike proper. Obviously, they'll tell you when you're doing something right as well, but 9 times out of 10, if you're training with any Muay Thai fighter in Thailand, they're going to you're going to be wrong more than you're right. That's just the nature of it. While we were training, I noticed that my focus was trying to press towards that initial strike point, which isn't generally a good thing. I can't say I agree with myself for training in the manner that I did. I would have liked to train there for about 2 weeks straight, but I'm on a time limit and I'm in between on multiple different things, so it's better for me to just train as I see fit and make sure that I'm focusing on coast to coast, because not only do I need to make sure that all of my work is properly prepped out and ready for the situation, but I'm also in college, so I needed to make sure that I got back home so I could get all my classwork done. The humidity of Thailand was definitely a big inoculator for my focus. I was struggling on striking properly and coordinatively to the way I normally do, which is you can see how my ankle got a little bit messed up. And hold up, give me a second. It's another issue with training, um, Muay Thai outside of the country. The second you land, your body's not going to feel the same way. It's just how magnetics work. If I train Muay Thai for all of my life in the United States, the second I go to Thailand, it's going to be something completely different. Obviously, training under any trainer in general, whether they're a fighter, a trainer, or just a standard personal trainer, it's going to be a little bit different. You're under the supervision of somebody, so it keeps you from going off balanced. This is training that I haven't really been able to receive in years because very rarely are you able to strike at the level that you're striking at and train at the level that you're training at without a trainer. It's just not really natural because you have to go psychosomatic for it. Training alone at the level that I'm training at right here is not possible. It's not possible. If you do that, you're either using drugs to counter convey your focus or you're a psychopath. It's not really possible to train at this level for 1 hour straight. If I'm training for 3 hours, then yeah, I get about an hour of training in, but it's just not something that you can really classically consider as safe under standard or regular means of association. Training in general is meant to shock you. It's not meant to actually train you. It's meant to make you comfortable for the actual experience of whatever it is that you're doing. So, I mean, 1 hour of training in any discipline is more than enough and more than sufficient for almost any discipline in all of existence, with exception of like very few situations, like maybe programming. And even then, it's because you're typing on a computer, so it's base input output, and because the way that the words manifold over themselves, it allows for you to train at maybe 4 or 5 hours. But even then, it's still probably not something that you should do. But like I said, Thailand was a lot of fun. I definitely do plan on going back to train. Now that I have an actual place to train at, I'll be able to gladly go there again. And next time it won't be as sporadic and chaotic, which will be nice because I'll know where I am. I'll have a footing. I'll have a grounding, and I'll be able to actually focus on my training the way I would have liked. Because I definitely didn't get the training that I wanted out there, but it was either that or spend, money that I don't have on something that would take so long that it would put me out of coast to coast. So both of those were in a definitive state of something that I really can't do right now. And just for the record, here's what I look like when I'm free sparring. Free sparring is like no holds barred, do whatever you want, no questions asked. This is basically my level of fighting. So if you notice, I keep my hands down. Whenever I'm shadow boxing, I always keep my hands down. I think it's because that's like the first thing that's stressed in Thailand, in Thai kickboxing, and I guess boxing in general. But when you start learning on your own, especially coming from a martial arts and wrestling background, it's hard for me to keep my hands up in that position just because it's not a proper mannerism. Because technically speaking, in martial arts, it's for self defense. So if I shouldn't have my hands up, I should always keep my hands down because I'm not looking to get into a fight with somebody. Whereas in wrestling, my hands should never be by my face. There's no reason for it. So both of my foundational disciplines have absolutely nothing to do with Muay Thai, which is why I thought it was a good discipline. It was a little bit more it was a little bit more advanced than boxing with the same foundational discipline requirements. It can still be fought in the same ring. However, it has kicks incorporated, which is good for my foundations, and it also incorporates some level of wrestling. So it was a double entendre. So it looks like it looks like the best decision possible. Obviously, wherever you go, the warm ups are always going to be different. And to be completely honest with you, that's one thing that Thailand does really well. Every single day, the warm ups are a little bit different, which is good because it gives you a little bit of variability and depth, which is something that is very, very hard to achieve in boxing and generic kickboxing. However, in Muay Thai, it usually allows you to go a little bit more variational with it, which is a good thing. So now that I'm back in Vietnam, I have a little bit more discipline and training in some fields and areas that I wasn't too comfortable with a few weeks ago, which is great. Um, can I say it helped my MMA foundations? Hell no. This definitely dropped my mixed martial arts a bit, but it's not something that I really am worried about generally because the end definitive is that if you can fight in Muay Thai, you can generally understand mixed martial arts. Um, if you have a foundation of mixed martial arts with wrestling and other forms of judo or takedown, which is still a martial art, but I always like to switch that one up. Then, well, there's room for improvement regardless of whether or not you're training it. Um, I was lucky; I didn't really train it very much as a kid, so it gives me the opportunity to kind of open up my awareness to new strike styles and new forms of grappling, which I didn't really have available before. And to be completely honest, I have enough takedown knowledge to where I can take somebody down without too much worry. So yeah, I definitely see myself going back to Vietnam in the next few weeks, or I definitely see myself going back to Thailand in the next few weeks, but as of right now, I have to focus on class, college, work, and coast to coast. There's a lot of money that I still need to generate to make sure that this is even considered possible, but that's not really what I'm worried about. I'm more just worried about making sure that I don't forget that I'm a mixed martial artist, not a Muay Thai fighter. However, I have no problem switching, realistically. Uh, Next time I go to Thailand, I'm gonna ask San and Dang if I can even get into one, if that's even possible. I can go from there. But like I said, I don't really want to be fighting right now because if I break my leg or fracture my collarbone again, it's gonna make coast to coast impossible, and that's not what I want. You can see me in this video kind of exacerbating the strike, which is always a good thing. Um, it allows for a definitive nature to be associated to your actual strike balance. It's like that's what many people mean by going 150%. However, they sensate it. It's called resonance. So it's like if somebody goes, "Oh, I want you to do 150%," it's so they can feel something, but that's not what they mean. They just don't understand that. So yeah, the foundations are definitely growing in a weird manner. I'm not really sure where I'm at right now, primarily because I just trained in Thailand and I definitely increased my understanding and skill in that combat style. So I don't really know where I'm going to go next. However, I definitely need to. I'm supposed to go to Mongolia to train in bulk, but I'm at the whim of if I can even get out there to do that. The problem with going to Mongolia to train bulk is that it's technically a province of China. Even though Mongolia is its own country, it's situated between Russia and China. Therefore, the China Highway runs directly through Mongolia, meaning that CCTV's executive functions would have to be there, making it almost impossible for me to actually do my homework because US-based server softwares do not operate and run on China's CCTV protocol. So it's probably more beneficial for me to go to Russia and excuse me, I got a text message. Apologies. So it's probably more beneficial for me to go to Russia and trade in Sambo in the mountains so I can better clear my oxidation levels and get my body comfortable with long duration hikes under intense pressure. But yeah, that pretty much does it for this video. So I will see you guys in a few days. I think we're going to be going over Aquarius, which is some to the area of 12,000 kilometers, but it's like, no more. I think it's 12,000 kilometers of cycling, about 64, 65 kilometers of swimming, um, 2,000 kilometers of ruck running. And I think I passed through between 3 and 4 countries. So it's going to be quite a wild ride. And all right, well, that does it for this video. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks, y'all. Peace.